A boy asked his father, "Dad, what are politics?" Poli means many, ticks are blood-sucking insects, therefore politics means many blood-sucking insects. That was a great joke. And right on target. Yeah, it's very funny stuff, but we all know that it's the government that does all the screwing. Phew, I stayed with it. Dark. A husband and wife are eating breakfast. "You dirty dog," I said to my wife last night. "Boy, do you have a big pussy? Boy, do you have a big pussy? Boy, do you have a big pussy." An old married couple were sitting down to breakfast. The wife suggested that they eat breakfast in the nude, like they used to do when they were younger. The husband consented. While they are sitting there eating their breakfast in the nude, the wife says, "You know, my nipples still burn for you." The husband says, "Well, it's no wonder. You have one in your coffee and the other one in your oatmeal." This could be the stupidest, most incredible joke I've heard. "Help me find my car and we'll drive out." Ring a bell? I went over to my girlfriend's house and I said, "I'd like a little pussy." She said, "Me too, mine's as big as a house." "Why is your organ so small?" I didn't know I was playing in a cathedral. Having no gag reflex fucking sucks. You can't force yourself to vomit when you need to. Can become a very popular person though. I don't remember the last time I wished I could make myself vomit, but almost every day I trigger an unwanted gag reflex with my toothbrush or tongue scraper. Drop a raw egg in a glass of milk and down it. Bet you puke. I have a gag reflex and never in my 42 years have ever felt the need to force myself to vomit. I feel like you're doing something wrong. I can. You simply need to have that one horrific, nauseating memory. I've never once in my life needed to make myself puke on demand. So funny story, playing the game of things and the card was things you should not put on your resume. One of the answers was I don't have a gag reflex. Everyone died. Vomit free since '93 baby. How did a business permanently lose you as a customer? I owned a 2000 Dodge Caravan. Dodge will never get another dime of my money. Rent-A-Car has the most insane policies ever and people with the mental capacity of a saltine cracker working in the customer service department. Never again. I'll walk to a Dick's Sporting Goods and buy myself a pair of skate to get where I want to go before ever renting a car from them again. Kroger recently got accused of shoplifting while using the self-scan checkout when a bag of tortilla chips wouldn't ring up. I pressed the assistant's needed option to ask for help to ring it up and the employee came over. Instead of just looking up the item for me, they sat for 5 minutes watching the video recording from the self-scan, then asked me, "So you're playing games, huh?" "Yes, I called you over specifically to help ring up an item I wanted to steal." Kroger, never again. I've seen a few jokes about dwarfs recently and I'm sick of it. Don't fill it up too high. This is a pretty low joke. I don't ever joke about dwarfs. I'm a responsible person. They look up to me. My wife is short and I wouldn't have it any other way. In fact, I'm nuts over her. Told this joke to some dwarves. 6 out of 7 were not happy. The Barbie dream house has everything you need from bathtub to the tea set. She'd be pretty short with you if she found out you were making jokes at her expense. I tried to think up a dwarf joke but I came up short. This joke might be funny. I'll let you know shortly. You really shouldn't make fun at the expense of a ass not big and it's not clever. My ex-girlfriend cheated on me with a dwarf. That was a low blow. A little hot water, a little cold water, a little bit of soap and a little back rub. What more could she ask for? A bucket. None of the villains in the Incredibles movies had powers. Wasn't that the point? People with powers act all hidey-toddy and those without are just supposed to accept their inferiority. Some lash out over this. Neither does Batman. He's just rich, that's his superpower. They're just the Batmans of the villain world. Didn't Underminer survive a punch to the face from Mr. Incredible? Arguably Bucky had a form of super intelligence and just wasn't recognized as super by Mr. Incredible. Because the government gave the heroes their powers, they must have done some personality tests first to make sure they didn't give powers to people who would go against society. The children of those heroes are the first people born with powers and are still a bit young to be supervillains, plus are taught everything by their government-picked parents. The villains in The Incredible are essentially racists. The first wanted everyone to be the same and hated difference. The second one wanted to make them less than human and enslave them. Till during the filming of Dexter, actor Jimmy Smits accidentally grabbed a real knife and stabbed a stuntman in the chest. The stuntman survived unharmed due to the blade hitting a post-it note-sized piece of plastic covering his heart. Why was there a real knife lying around? Somebody really fucked up by dressing a set with real knives in a scene where somebody was due to grab a knife and get stabby. Why wouldn't you try and ruin the take if you saw him pick up the wrong over or something like that? I didn't care much for post-season 4 Dexter, but Jimmy Smits was awesome as Miguel Prado. Glad to hear he didn't actually get dextered. Reminds me of the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, where he ended up actually accidentally stabbing Kevin Nash with a dull knife. Apparently Nash played it off, then superglued his wound shut. Lol, another website blocking people using ad blockers. Guess I'm not allowed to read it. Till that John Denver died piloting a home-built aircraft he was not permitted to fly. Despite having over 2,700 hours of flight experience, the FAA had revoked his flight status for medical reasons for failing to maintain sobriety, though alcohol was not involved in the crash. His newly purchased amateur-built Rutan aircraft had an unusual fuel tank selector valve handle configuration. The handle had originally been intended by the plane's designer to be between the pilot's legs. The builder instead put it behind the pilot's left shoulder. The fuel gauge was also placed behind the pilot's seat and was not visible to the person at the controls. Why did he buy that stupid thing? I worked with a guy that repaired aircraft. John Denver was their best customer. He would hit everything while he was taxiing. So when he died while piloting an aircraft, it didn't surprise me. Till that in Roman Republic women were not given personal names. Rather, their names would reflect their ancestry. Sisters would have the same names differentiated by a number, or if there are only two sisters they be called the older and the younger, and later in life by their husband's name. Dear Diary. Today it has been 0 days since I thought about the Roman Empire. Some Asians still use a similar system. They have names but still called second brother, etc. Wasn't it the same with men? Off-cited Pliny the Elder comes to mind for me. It's a misconception that everybody should have a name and a surname, family name. If you look around both in time and space, the way we have names today in the West is very much an exception. Also, Romans are an interesting example because they were notably lazy when naming people, for example their children Primus, Secundus, Tertius, etc. Till that in the 60s the Italian Ministry of Education broadcasted a TV show titled It's Never Too Late, aimed to teach older people how to read and write. An estimate of 1.5 million people got their elementary school diploma thanks to it. Nani mai troppo tardi was a groundbreaking program that helped to reduce illiteracy in Italy. It was hosted by Alberto Manzi, a teacher and educator who was passionate about making education accessible to everyone. I plan on going back to college in my late 30s. I'll be over 40 when I graduate. Economic and medical circumstances put me here and I'm not ashamed of it. Nobody should be ashamed of pursuing education of any level, at any age. That's amazing. Why was such a successful program discontinued? For anyone in the US, your local public library probably has a reading program for adults as well. PSA. Till that the bridge explosion scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was done the first time without any cameras rolling, and director Sergio Leone, after realizing the mistake, told his crew, "Let's go eat." The crew built the bridge again the next day. "Let's go eat" should be the standard response when an oops shuts down a project for the day. I was watching the bonus features of the movie the other day. From what I remember, it was the Spanish military. All the extras were Spanish military that accidentally blew it up. I'll actually double it wasn't the crew that put it back together, but the military, since they felt bad. And that's actually why it's called a spaghetti western. Damn, that guy was calm. That seems like something someone easily should get fired for. Reminds me of that scene from Tropic Thunder. The only photo of the bridge I wanted to see doesn't load, but all the ads and trailers load perfectly. 1320. Why have all the ninny hammered, clod-plated? Till the US Navy sold 2 obsolete aircraft carriers to scrap dealers for a cent each because they were very expensive to dismantle and recycle. You're telling me I could have purchased an aircraft carrier for a cent? Wonder if they end up like a documentary I saw in India on dismantling ships. It's just poor locals with no protection submerged in toxic waste hammering it away. This is true. One was my former ship, the USS Forrestal CV-59. This is called a peppercorn. For a contract to exist, both parties need to receive something, called consideration. There is no requirement that the parties receive things of equal value, but if there is not both give and take, the contract never exists. Even a peppercorn will do. Thus, to give away an item, if the transfer is by contract, a nominal price is given, often $1 or a penny. Don't they scuttle them to create artificial reefs? Till the inventor of the pop-up later apologized for his invention after seeing how his creation had been used for pop-up advertising, much like how Nobel regretted dynamite once he saw it used for non-construction purposes. He created a new way to present advertising and he didn't think it would get abused. Of course it was always going to be abused. It's advertising. Those people are relentless. As far as I'm concerned, programmers are creative and somebody would have invented it and then abused it at some point anyway. He should be fucking sorry. He truly believed, wow, the average user is really going to love this? Oh come on, that dude must have known. It's such a small thing to be sent to hell for. The Doctor and the Rich Man. This joke has been pissed up. It used to be a Chinese doctor and a lawyer. I like this version better. I dig it. 3 women died and found themselves standing at the pearly gates. Pretty sure her name is Wendy, and I was married to her at one time. Oh, you know my ex? Yes, saw that one coming a mile away. The angel disobeyed St. Peter the second time. We're West Coast earthquake experts. Ask us anything. What is your best educated guess regarding the Cascadia event, in terms of when it will happen the next 50 years? And do events like the recent earthquake in NW Washington state suggest that Cascadia might be stirring? Is it true that San Francisco is a ticking time bomb? I have heard that eventually there will be an earthquake big enough to destroy the city. Is the West Coast doomed? Why haven't life safety centers, similar to those in Japan where citizens and school children can practice hands-on emergency preparedness skills, gain popularity in the United States? And could the Pacific Northwest region support a business of this nature? Growing up in Los Angeles, I associate any seismic activity with Dr. Lucy Jones telling us what we need to know. However, is she as well known in the PNW? We've all heard of the phrase boys will be boys, but what are some examples of girls will be girls? All go to the bathroom together, trying to do witchcraft at sleepovers, watching true crime documentary shows as light entertainment, creating scenarios for our dolls Sims so horrific Jigsaw would be scared, gassing each other up and giving life advice in the club bathroom, waking up with bruises and no idea or memory of getting injured, recreating music videos badly with our friends at sleepovers. They just want to have fun, getting you hooked on some of the most enticing, dramatic TV shows ever to curse Netflix, being obsessed with true crime, thinking about Victorian dresses, one girl going oh no I started my period. Does anyone have a pad or tampon? I can hear comes at least 5 girls rolling up with a couple spare pads or tampons all in different absorbencies or a bottle of painkillers. What did the one vowel say to the other? You seem different than the other vowels I've met. Why? This is actually a shit joke because they were communicating in ASL. There was a lot of vowel movement. British has only 3 vowels. They left TU. That doesn't consonant me. After they ate dinner, they had a vowel movement O. I owe you. Zany face. Spies. The U says to the I, you think you're so smart with your tittle well, I'm getting an umlaut tomorrow. I owe you one. Why did you ate the other vowels? I'm Z. I'll try again tomorrow. OIQ. I see you are a QT. Oh, I see. What do you consider unhealthy even though everyone else thinks it's healthy? The hustle culture. There's nothing wrong having a little side hustle, but working 2-3 jobs for long periods of time and bragging about it is toxic. I've worked 2 jobs for well over a decade and I highly recommend not doing that. It really burns you out. I don't think people see it as healthy, but people don't realize how bad Nutella is. It has the same sugar content as cake frosting. I think a lot of issues come from people equating healthier with healthy. Obviously, Subway isn't healthy, but when you compare it to the traditional fast food alternatives, it's certainly healthier. Same with diet sodas. No one truly believes they are actually good for you, but they are certainly better for you when compared to non-diet soda, low-fat versions of full-fat foods. What do you find disgusting even though everyone else thinks it's normal? Not washing your hands after touching different items while cooking. Like touching raw chicken, then the seasoning without washing your hands in between is straight up disgusting. Just people's breath being in the same vicinity as my face. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad breath, I absolutely hate catching any whiff of anyone else's breath. I'm a dude and the number of times I've seen other guys take a piss and then fucking leave the bathroom without washing their goddamn hands is infuriating. Playing music on a hike, especially with an obnoxious Bluetooth speaker clipped to your back. I mean, music is nice and all, but damn, I don't want to hear your shit taste in music. Do what I do and have headphones in. I still enjoy my girly K-pop while not disrupting people trying to actually enjoy nature. Having your phone on speaker in public. Nobody wants to hear your personal bullshit. Messy-faced babies and cake smashing. What is something rich people say that is bullshit? Had a wealthy ex-girlfriend try to convince me that her parents giving her $5,000, $10,000 every month for fun money was the same as a parent buying their kid a Coke, because all parents want to help their kids, they just have different amounts of help they can give. Talk about delusional. We didn't last long. We're all in the same boat, ship. It's just a banana, Michael. How much can it cost? $10. Nobody wants to work anymore. We are in this together. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Kim Kardashian once said this. Get your ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. Money can't buy happiness. Just work hard and you can. It trickles down. If I was able to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, anybody can do it. With all this opportunity, you'd have to choose to be poor. What normal common word gets under your skin? Subcutaneous. Journey. Everything in life is now a friggin' journey. Synergy, paradigm shift, lean in, circle back, bandwidth. Hubby. I fucking hate that word so much. When people call their husband hubby, I imagine a skin sack of fat, not a human. Could have instead of could have, would have, etc. Drives me nuts on here. Connoisseur, specifically if someone refers to themselves as this. It just gives me the impression that they think they're an expert at judging something, even if that something isn't something they have a verifiable expertise in. Had this happen a few times in my Taco Bell days by people that I'd bet money never worked for one in any capacity. Why? I have a 5 years old. When people say this on Reddit, does breaky instead of breakfast count? Makes my skin crawl. Bay. Like shut up lol. Which band witnesses the most murders? The police. The killers. Unexpectedly clean. Nice one. Mr. Jones and me both loved it. If there are only 2 crows then it's only attempted murder, but there has to be probable cause. Yeah, but it was only a murder of 1. Fine Young Cannibals, Megadeth, 10,000 Maniacs, The Police. That obviously doesn't include the ones W suicidal tendencies. The Zombies, Nickelback. Oh wait. Never mind. I thought it was about suicides. Death Clock. That's a big fat 0. Do suicides count? Jonas Brothers, 3 Inches of Blood, Megadeth, 10,000 Maniacs, The Black Crowes, Eagles of Death Metal, Hanson? Their hair grows longer for everyone they have killed. A group of crows is called a murder. The Killers, Slaughter, Slayer, Guar Sexecurioner, I mean, come on. Taliban. Before every decision you make that's relatively important like spending money masturbate and you'll eventually make the right choice. This really works. I was thinking I should leave my job. So I rubbed one out and HR made the decision for me. Don't do this when deciding how much money to leave in the church collection plate. This is the same advice as to sleep on it with extra steps. This is how you Pablo yourself into having a kink for decisions. This proved awkward when approached by a religious campaigner whilst out shopping, but had the desired result anyway. Thanks op MVP. I disagree with this. Post-nut state tends to put me into nah, I'm just gonna chill now or go to sleep mode. Usually the right decision would have been for me to actually clean my house or do work. I never feel motivated to work after a nut. I'm assuming the $80 was for a low-rent hooker.